Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. I am Rajarsi Dasa. Welcome to Hare Krishna today. On today's program, we're going to continue where we left off on our last program. We've declared this year's Bhagavad Gita Awareness Year. On our last program, we were discussing what is the Bhagavad Gita? What are the main topics? What are the contents of the Gita? So we're going to continue. Just to reflect on what we did last week, we mentioned Bhagavad Gita is that science of the soul and its relationship with the Supreme. Krishna explained that from the 4th chapter of the Gita. He said that ancient science of the soul and its relationship with the Supreme is told today by me to you because you're my devotee and my friend. You can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So we also mentioned that the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita mentions different paths. We mentioned about Karma Kand, then Karma Yoga, and then Krishna is speaking about devotional service, bhakti. So we're saying how difficult it is for people to actually understand the conclusion of Gita. Why? Because a lot of people want to remain in kindergarten. In other words, they just want bhoga and aishwarya, sense gratification, bhog and aishwarya, material opulence. So in their minds, samadhau na vidhyate, it doesn't dawn upon them getting out this world, liberation, going somewhere. In fact, I have experience on many programs, I don't mean television program, interacting with live audience, and I ask how many people want to go back to the spiritual world. Show by raising your hand. And believe me, I'm not lying. I've been in audiences where not one person raised their hand. And they're just being honest. They're being truthful. They just don't care to go anywhere. That's all. This life is all in all. They don't know anything about anywhere else. And you will blame them? How would they know? How would you know? How could you know? Do we ask? Or should we know? So people are quite contented with where they are. Eat, sleep, mate, and defend and die like a dog. That's Kali Yuga. Majority of people, they live like that. And if they do some little religiosity, well, it's just with the hope that if I do that, hope things will go good as I like. But Bhagavad Gita is meant to wake us up, to see clearly the path, the many paths, and the ultimate path. This is the glorious thing about Bhagavad Gita. So as we were speaking about many paths on the previous program, it's a good time perhaps to look at what is the qualification for understanding the Bhagavad Gita. Who is the candidate? Or is it meant for some people and not for others? There are many factors we could look at. But as we're saying, if people are too attached to bhoga and aishwarya, just sense enjoyment and material opulence. Krishna is saying, samadho na vidhyate. They cannot have any samadhi. Their minds cannot be fixed for liberation. They're not interested. They're just not interested. So they won't understand the Gita. So, who we are speaking about? Who are the candidates? Bhagavad Gita actually is an invitation to all, everyone, even those less intelligent persons who are just interested in sense gratification. As a human being, there are basic principles mentioned in the Gita that everybody should understand. Yes, it is true. There are many types of worship. Karma can worship this god, worship that god, this yoga, that yoga. But Bhagavad Gita contains principles that are meant to be understood by people in general. So how should we understand it? Well, let us remain in the same fourth chapter. It's dealing with transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means spiritual knowledge, knowledge beyond what we find in the material nature, knowledge coming from another dimension. Brahmaksharam samudbhavam. The Vedas comes from the breathing of the Supreme Lord. And Bhagavad Gita is the direct words of the same Supreme Lord. So the purpose and the aim of the Vedas, Brahmaksharam samudbhavam, the Vedas come from the breathing of the Lord. What is the goal of the Vedas? Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvaira hameva vedyaha. By all the Vedas, aham eva vedya. I am to be known. And what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Krishna said, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After Bahu Janam, many births, when a person becomes jnanavan, full of knowledge, Krishna said, then mam prapadyante. Then he'll surrender unto me because Vasudeva sarvamiti. He knows me, Vasudeva, to be everything. Of course, some Mahatmas Sadurlabha, such great souls, are very rare. So in the same fourth chapter, Krishna is saying how this message of the Gita is understood. Imam vivashvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. I first gave it to the sun god Vivashvan. He gave it to Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And it was passed down. Evam parampara praptam. It has been received through parampara, through disciplic succession. Imam Rajarshayo vidhu. And the saintly kings understood it in that way. That's how they received it, and they understood it in that way. If people want to actually understand the Gita, they should follow this principle of parampara or disciplic succession. Not that everybody just give their own opinion, their own idea. Oh, I think this, I scratch my head, I feel this, I believe that. Every madman has a mind and he can think anything, feel and believe anything. But when it is conveyed in parampara, in disciplic succession, then it can be received as it is. So Krishna is saying, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. The 34th verse of the 4th chapter, Krishna says, you just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, guru. You inquire from him submissively, and you render service unto him. And then that Tattvadarshi, that seer of the truth, he'll impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. He knows what is the truth. So the process of learning the truth is one prescribed by Krishna in the Gita. It's not like you call upon it and say, Baba, I want you to do this puja and that puja. Who is the guru there? Huh? Who is the guru and who is the disciple? When you tell Guruji what you want him to do, well, you know what you want, right? You know what you're looking for, and you know what puja good for that. So you want him to do that. So you tell him what you want. But are you willing to listen to Guru? Are you willing to do as Krishna say? Inquire from him submissively. Well, you want to know how to do it? Well, we have a student of the Gita. Arjuna is the first student there, or the second student, sun god before. But Krishna says that the science appeared to be lost, and now I am giving it to you, Arjuna. But the mood remains the same. Let us look at Arjuna's example. Arjuna also was telling the Pandit what he believed and what he wanted and what he feel. In this case, Krishna was like the Pandit. And Arjuna was saying that, nah, I can't fight. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Yeah, if we kill these sinful people, this sinful Duryodhana, we'll get sin. And, yeah, if we every action we perform, we're going to get a reaction. And, we'll destroy family tradition and we'll go to hell. And, yeah, Arjuna was, telling the Pandit, what he would do. Arjuna said, better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of these great souls. Yeah, he was telling the Pandit what is good. He said, better for me to live in this world by begging. You want to tell the police, all the police in the police force, that you all should go and beg? How about that? You might say, well, you people look like you're useless anyway. You can't stop any crime. Better you go and beg. We can't pay you all this money. How about if you tell them that? Anyway, as bad as it is, nobody will agree that all these police should go and beg. No. Kshatriya. Kshatriyati, they have to protect the society. In other words, they may be dysfunctional, but you can't do with it. In other words, if you have a cataract in your eye, you don't go plucking out your eye. You have to remove the cataract. So if you have an improper system or unqualified people, then you have to make them qualified or set the system right. But you don't go, all right, we think that them police useless, so we get rid of all the police. No, well, Arjuna was telling Krishna, better for me to live in this world by begging. Yeah. You're Kshatriya. You're supposed to protect society. You have all kinds of culprits like Duryodhana and company performing all kinds of heinous acts, and you want to go and live by begging and let them flourish. Bright idea, Arjuna. Yes. So Arjuna was like one of those types of persons in the beginning, telling the Pandit what he wanted to do and what is better for him to do. So he was going on, whole first chapter, Arjuna, this, that, this good, that good. But then, Arjuna came to a point where he said, Karpang yadosha pahata subhava prichami twang dharma samudha cheta yashreyasya nishitam bruhitan me shishyastiham shadhimang tvam prapanam. Arjuna said, now I'm confused about my duty. I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to please tell me what is best for me. Now I am a disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Yes, Arjuna came to that point. That is disciple. That is the point we have to come to. Not that you telling Babaji, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, Guruji. I want you to do this for me. I want you to do that for me. Who is Guru there? So, when we are willing to submit, when Arjuna realized, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not solving any problem. I have heard this, Arjuna even said, I have heard from disciplic succession, those who destroy family tradition dwells in hell. But what he wasn't realizing is that he has the master of religion, the supreme controller, who is telling you what to do. He's not understanding the point until he submits. So if we don't come to that point of submitting like Arjuna, then we'll get it wrong. As long as we have all kinds of preconceived ideas as to what I want in life. Yes, I want this, I want that, I want the other. Well, we could go on having what we want. Krishna is not going to force anybody. We could do what we want, but we'll get the grave reactions and results also. We should always know that. We could do what we damn well want. Krishna is giving us that freedom that we can do what we want. And we have been doing it for millions of lifetimes, by the way. So when we get the human form now, it's time to try to put some solution, bring about some solution. So the idea is this. When Arjuna submitted, he inquired submissively. He says, Shishyas, now I am a Shishya, I am a disciple. Yes, Shreyas Chan. Shreyas? There are two goals in life. Prayas. All these puja, I'll do this to get that, do that to get that. That's prayas. Call a path called Pravriti Marg, the path of enjoyment, trying to get all these things. Then there's Nivriti Marg, the path of negation, the path for perfection. So prayas and shreyas. Prayas, immediate goals, shreyas, the ultimate goal. So when Arjuna realized that this ignorance I am in and this whole thing, this is a mess. I can't figure out this. Krishna, you please tell me. You please instruct me. And it was then that Krishna went through, giving chapter after chapter, giving Arjuna all this information. This world, inside out, details of this world, soul, the material world, the three modes, souls tied up, all these different types of systems, the yoga, this process, that process. Yes, but we're speaking about the qualification. That's important that we get this point. Because in this life, there are many people who never come to the point of developing the qualification or the willingness to want to submit and surrender to God. And that's unfortunate. If you get a human form after going through millions of lifetimes, you come to a human form now and you're not willing to submit and do what it takes to get out. They said better to try and fail than to fail to try. Or Arjuna said, well, but what if a person take up this process, but then he desists due to worldly mindedness? Doesn't he just become lost because he didn't get any material success and he got deviated from the spiritual path, so there's no spiritual success either. So doesn't he just become lost like a riven cloud in the sky? Krishna said, no way. On this path, there is no loss or diminution, Arjuna. Even a little amount of devotional service can save one from the greatest fear, the time of death. Yes. That is Krishna's assurance. Better to try and fail than to fail to try. Krishna says one who takes up this path, in your next life, if you didn't get it quite right to go back to the spiritual world, if you were advanced, you'll come back in a situation, family of spiritualists, where quickly you'll get the opportunity, you'll become attracted to the yogic principles. Such a person stand always above the ritualistic principles of religion. But if you were not so advanced to come back in that advanced family of spiritualists, then Krishna says, Srimatam, you will come in a wealthy family and you'll have good facility. You'll have all good facility, materially speaking, so then you won't have to struggle and you can pursue spiritual life. So where is the loss? There's no loss. But the idea is that we have to come to that, developing that qualification. Some more about Arjuna's qualification. He didn't do as a lot of people read Gita today and screw out a little piece here. I like this piece of the Gita, I like that piece of the Gita, but I don't like when Krishna is saying all these things about, for him, everything I eat I have to offer to him. He's saying always chant his name. He's saying whatever I do I have to do for him. I don't like those things, but I like when he speak about the mind, and I like to quote this thing. I like when I give a political speech, or I give this kind of speech, I like to quote this. Yeah, great. You can like this and you can like that. You can like to be a half a hen philosopher. That's what we call it, a half a hen philosopher. Like the person he like one side, the tail side, because he get the egg. But he didn't like the head side because that consumes food. So some people like that. They like the Gita because they can scroll out a little piece of this and that and make themselves look learned. But that's not Krishna's purpose. Krishna's purpose in the Bhagavad Gita is to deliver the souls from this world. So Arjuna, he said, Sarvam etadaritam manyeyan mang varasi Keshava. O Keshava Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have said. Sarvam, everything. I totally accept, Krishna. Everything you say, I accept. I don't dispute at all. You're saying you're the source of everything. Everything come from you. You're situated in this way. That I totally accept as truth all that you have said. This is Arjuna's mode. This is his attitude. And he's grateful. He's grateful. He tells Krishna, Nashto moha smritir labdha. My moha, my illusion is now gone. And he says, Tvat prasadan maya chuta. By your prasad, by your mercy, my illusion is gone by your mercy. Arjuna didn't say, you see, I real smart, I was able to read this book and I learned the truth by myself. No, Arjuna wasn't such a fool. He said, Tvat prasadan, by your grace. I have regained my consciousness, my memory, by your grace. We have to learn submission, dependence on God. That's the method. So we're looking at qualification because this is an important point. To follow how Arjuna did in the Gita, that's the process. Make sure it is coming in disciplic succession, because in the age of Kali Yuga there are a great number of people making a good change on the Bhagavad Gita. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is a prestigious book, so you can do a translation and a commentary and people will respect you. You look like you're an intelligent man. You're writing commentary on Gita. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Now, how many people are these Bhagavad Gitas making devotee? That's how you would know what is bogus and what is authentic. Bhagavad Gita as it is, that came in disciplic succession presented by Srila Prabhupada, has made devotees all over the world follow what Krishna is saying. If Krishna is saying, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, then the people who read Bhagavad Gita as it is doing exactly that. Krishna is saying, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, you offer to me mud arpan. Well, the followers of Bhagavad Gita as it is making offering daily to Krishna. They don't eat anything. If Krishna say in the Gita, those who prepare food, offering first and sacrifice, they're released from all kinds of sin. Those who prepare food for their own enjoyment, they eat sin at every mouthful. The devotees following Bhagavad Gita as it is has faith in that. They do that. So that is the proof that if we do as Arjuna did, if we receive the knowledge from the proper source, then there is actual benefit, transformation, purification, awakening of devotion. So this is the real achievement from Bhagavad Gita. This is the qualification following Arjuna. I'm Rajarsi Dasa saying Hare Krishna, and do join us again for a continuing presentation. Hare Krishna.
Как вам шарики понравилось? Скажите Харе Кришна.
Я уже сказала.
Еще раз.
Харе Кришна.
Спасибо. Самадхи. Ну, уже почти. Харе Кришна, Кришна Кришна, Харе